Hi everyone. This is the assignment sheet for writing project 2, which is going to be a synthesis paper. In class, when I get back, we will spend some time talking about what it means to synthesize your sources. Um, so don't worry too much about that now. This assignment sheet will describe that to you a little bit, but we will go more in depth in the future. At the top of the assignment sheet, you'll see some due dates. I would put reminders of these in your phone or write them in a planner. You have a partial rough draft of your paper due July 6th. That needs to be at least 500 words. Your full rough draft is due July 13th. That needs to be at least 1,000 words. The final draft is due July 18th. So the assignment itself, you're going to choose a STEM-related topic that you're interested in. Your audience for this paper is going to be someone who has a general understanding of that topic. You are then going to find 2 or 3 articles and write a 1,000 to 1,500 word synthesis essay. So let's take a look at some things that a synthesis is and is not. First of all, a synthesis is not a summary. So you may be lightly summarizing the sources that you are looking at, but in general, that's not the focus of the paper. You will only be summarizing your sources if you think you need to in order for your reader or audience to better understand what those sources are saying. So, and rather than summarizing these sources, you are going to be looking at the relationship between them or what conclusions you can come to by looking at the information from both of those sources. You have the option to write an explanatory or argumentative synthesis. The explanatory synthesis, you are presenting a perspective, you're reaching a conclusion and explaining the reasoning behind it, but you're not really trying to persuade your reader, you're more seeking to inform. The argumentative synthesis, of course, is you are trying to develop an argument, you are trying to be persuasive. All synthesis essays are looking for a relationship between the sources. So this is, in some ways, this might feel like a compare and contrast essay because you will be looking at what your sources say and then, asking yourself what they have in common. Do they have any important differences? Can you reach any new conclusions based on looking at the conversation that these sources are having with each other? And again, we'll talk more about that. We'll go over some examples when I get back. So all synthesis essays try and draw conclusions from the relationship that is formed between the sources. You can think of the synthesis in this way. You're going to first examine 2 to 3 sources and then decide on your thesis. So this may be different from how you have written papers in the past. A lot of times in high school classes specifically and early writing courses or really any sort of course in college, a lot of times you go into the project with a thesis in mind or you have a point that you're trying to prove. For a paper of this nature, you're first going to read and develop a thorough understanding of the sources and then decide what your point is going to be. Now, some of you maybe have experience with this. I wouldn't be surprised if you do, but I do know that it is different from how some people are used to writing papers. So you're going to examine what the sources are saying and then identify something that they would both support. Maybe what they support is an argument for or against something. Maybe what they support is an explanation of why something is the way that it is. You have to read the sources and understand them before you can know this. So don't start with your main idea. Start by reading and understanding the sources. We have a list of steps here that you will be following over the course of this unit. I will let you read through those on your own. I don't know if there's anything here that I really need to point out to you. Here are the requirements for the essay. Again, 1,000 to 1,500 words long. It's going to be in APA format. In contrast to the first paper, you are allowed to use first-person language, I, me, my, we. You're going to have a clear thesis that is either explanatory or argumentative. You're going to want to make sure that you transition between the paragraphs and different sections in your paper. Make sure that you have good word choice. Even though you are writing in first person, this is still going to be a formal paper. So we're going to strive for a formal tone. And then you're going to use 2 to 3 reliable sources and have an essay organization that makes sense. That is pretty much all there is to it. At the bottom of the assignment sheet here, you'll see a list of topics to consider. This is just a list to get you thinking. You are not required to write about any of these topics. You can choose any topic that you're interested in as long as it is in some way related to a STEM topic or a STEM subject. If you have any questions, feel free to email me and I will get back to you as soon as I can.